over Howard at home last week. The Lions looking to bounce back after falling on the road to Georgetown as part of the Lou Little Cup rivalry game. And it will be Columbia kicking off to Princeton. The Lions won the toss, elected to defer. And this is a Princeton team, Sean, that has won the last 5 meetings overall, the last 5 meetings here in New York City, and they've been dominant, winning by an average of 26 points.
Yeah, other than last year where it was a rain-soaked game and a low-scoring game, Princeton has been pretty dominant. It's going to be up to this defense to, focus on that quarterback and the running game of Princeton because that's where their bread and butter is.
So Hugo Murray kicks off into the end zone for a touchback. And Princeton's offense will come out for the first time. And they will have their starting quarterback back under center in Blaine Hippa, who hurt his non-throwing hand in the opening loss at Lehigh. Hippa, who saw spare time last season with the team, but this is now a great opportunity for him. And he's a lefty, and we saw him throw the deep ball, especially in that opener. He's got a heck of an arm.
Right. Last year, he was used mostly as a running quarterback to step in from Stegstrom. But this year, it's all on him. The senior came in and spelled him last week and got the W at Howard. But if you look at his hand, his right hand is covered in a glove. It's a little padded. So it's going to be up to Columbia to, do the job on him. And then one thing that Columbia has to do that they didn't do last week was tackle. The yards after catch killed them last week, so that's something they got to be very aware about.
Quick pass to Tamatoa Falatea to start things off. And now another quick outlet. Here's A.J. Barber fighting his way towards the first down marker. A nice second effort there by former NFL running back Tiki Barber's son.
Well, that looked like the defense was set up pretty well for that, but I think a bad angle by the defender, I think Schmowski, let him break that for a couple yards and pick up, close to the first down, leaves him third and 1.
And it looks like they're going to move the ball up slightly now.
So 3rd and 3 inches.
Of short yardage here for Hippa and company. We have not seen them run the ball yet with John Volker. 2 quick releases. And speaking of that, they now pound it up the gut, and that is going to move the chains forward for Princeton.
Well, when you think about what Princeton wants to do on offense, they're usually a run-focused. That's how they do their offense. But, the last few weeks, Columbia has given up some big chunks of yardage in the air. So you could expect them to try to take advantage of that as well.
If you take a look at the defensive starters for Columbia, their linebacking core is so strong. Rocco Melia leading the team in tackles. Anthony Russos right up there. As Hippa goes to the air, and it's broken up. It was intended for Luke Colella, but Carter McFadden was with him every step of the way.
Carter McFadden was right there. One-on-one coverage. They decided to take a deep shot. The ball was pretty well thrown, but McFadden was, all over him. A little underthrown for him, but either way, I think McFadden's defense was there to make the play.
It was Hippa and Colella who hooked up in the opener against Lehigh in the end zone. Colella made a great one-handed grab, so they have been in sync in the early stages as they send a man in motion here on 2nd and 10. Volker finds some open room, and this is going to be a manageable 3rd down for the Tigers again.
Yeah, puts them at 3rd and 3. That interior of that Princeton line is where their strength is. The center and 2 guards. They have a lot of veterans up there, and they move that line forward. So you expect to see them running a lot up the middle.
We just saw Volker's numbers from the first 2 games. He's also dangerous as a receiver, solid in pass protection. Hippa over the middle. It's complete. That's going to be another first down for Princeton. And Colella with a tough catch in traffic there as Aaron Brebner was trying to rip it out of his hands.
Now, it was a nice route by Colella. He kind of settled into a gap in the zone and allowed him to be, seen by the quarterback, and he delivered the ball right to him.
Colella leads the team in receptions, receiving yards, and touchdowns. No surprise as Hippa continues to lean on his top wideout.
You can tell right now that, the Columbia D-backs are not allowing that, run after catch. They're really concentrating on getting to that ball and holding that receiver there and not allowing him to turn upfield, which hurt them pretty badly last week.
Well, because Princeton also is known for its yardage after the catch, Sean, to your point. That's more of a reason why they don't want these short passes to become even more dangerous, as a strong running game to complement the passing attack has been on full display thus far for Princeton as we see Ethan Clark with his first opportunity.
Again, right up the middle. That's where their strength is on that offensive line. Right through the two guards and the center. That's where they power the ball most of the time. So that's something that Columbia has to be aware of and get some more push and hold up that front for.
Especially their right guard, Nicholas Hilliard. Honorable mention All-Ivy last season. Play action, Hippa down the field, trying to go to Kalila again. And it is incomplete. There's once again solid coverage there by Columbia's defensive backs, Carter McFadden.
That looked like, yep, he looks like he's spying on Kalila. Is that him? Yeah, good play here. Another man-on-man coverage. He was right with him step for step. So that ball has to be perfect in order to beat him in those plays.
It's a battle of the seniors. The 2nd and 10 coming up here for Princeton. They're trying to finish this drive. Hippa trying to take off, bumps into traffic, bounces out, and Columbia, well-disciplined, read it beautifully to contain his ability to roam wild out of the pocket.
Yeah, it looked like he was stopped in the middle of the line. He expected to go inside, but he broke outside. But the linebackers were able to respond and make a play and hold him to no gain.
That is Scott Rosati with the tackle in open space. So this is the first 3rd and long that we're seeing from the Tigers. They are 2 for 2 on 3rd down thus far on this drive, and on the season coming in, 33% conversion rate. His Hippo will operate out of the gun with 3 receivers to his right. He's got plenty of time, strong pocket, and it is going to be good for a catch and another first down with Princeton in the red zone as, again, Falatea coming up big.
Yeah, the defensive back, Quincy Amos, the sophomore, got turned around a little bit, and you know, Kalila was able to make a turn and go back for the ball, and he lost the ball, so he made a good play on it.
Here's Volker towards the outside, and he will easily stroll into the end zone. John Volker with his 2nd rushing touchdown of the season, and Princeton adds an exclamation point to a very strong opening drive to take a 6-0 lead.
Yeah, Princeton, actually, that was a really good drive. They not only threw the ball well, but they ran it up the middle, and then at that last play, he was able to kick it outside, and there was no contain, and get an easy drive for Princeton for a first touchdown.
So it'll be Sam Masick coming in for the extra point as he handles extra points and short field goals. And that is going to be up and in for a 7-point lead for Princeton as the Tigers trying to make the early statement on the road at the expense of Columbia. They're up by a score here in the first. A John Volker 12-yard touchdown run as the senior back finding an opening out to the right, and they were 3 for 3, Sean, on 3rd down on that drive.
No, that was a really well-run drive. You could see the difference having Hipper back in there as quarterback, because now you have, you know, the threat of the pass, and you've got the good running game. So it's you know, this Columbia defense is going to have to step up today, because this is a high-powered offense with a lot of really good skill people. So now it's up to Columbia to match that kind of intensity on their offensive drive. And we'll see, we're having Goodwin back, and see how this offense settles in this first series.
Well, Goodwin is that dual threat quarterback, much like Hippa, who can run, who could throw. Fortunately, he suffered a knee injury in the opener against Lafayette, but we look at his numbers before he went down and really added a spark to this offense that we haven't seen necessarily in years past, as Goodwin operating out of the gun to start here. And they go to the ground with Georgie. Georgie has nowhere to go, and he's going to lose yardage based on that swarming Princeton defense in the backfield.
Yeah, they had penetration up the middle by number 90, look at 92, 97. You know, good play by him. Little gap in the middle of the line. He was able to push him deep and hold him, actually get him for a 2-yard loss.
We look at the Columbia offense. Bryson Canty already with 3 touchdowns on the season, tied for first in the Ivy League. So a loss of 2 on the first play. They go back to the ground. Georgie this time has an opening, and then some up the sideline, and he makes up the lost yardage and then some for a first down for Columbia.
Yeah, right side of that offensive line, Colicchio and Jordan, you know, nice job up front. Georgie kind of hesitated a minute, waited for his hole to open, made a nice cut outside, and was able to pick up extra yardage for the first down.
Evan Haney just missed him as he got out of the trenches. Georgie, the leading rusher for Columbia. Malcolm Terry, though, has provided a nice complimentary piece as Goodwin able to complete the pass to Eden Stagg as the Lions now in rhythm.
A little misdirection, faked the running play to the right side. He rolled out to this side of the field to his left and made a nice throw on the run, right on the button to Eden Stagg for the first down.
Stagg had his first career receiving touchdown last week at Georgetown. Has proven to consistently make plays in practice and in the games. Georgie again, minimal gain for 3 yards on first down.
Yeah, the offensive line of Columbia has got to get a little more push there. They're going up against a veteran defensive line at Princeton who've got some really good size and strength up there. So this is going to be a battle all day. The strength of the offensive line versus the defensive line of Princeton.
And you see the guys on the screen up front, specifically Jack Del Garbino, honorable mention, All Ivy last season. They lost quality veteran linebackers, but Bob Saray, speaking to him this week, said there's so much more depth on this team as they've gone 29, 30 players deep on defense as Jordan Kelly able to haul that one in.
Yeah, nice little rollout by Goodwin again. Was able to throw the ball on the money on the run. There's the difference between, he's a really good pocket quarterback, but he's got the legs. He can roll out. He can make plays with his feet. So they got to be wary of him. That's what opened up that play. Puts him in a third and short situation.
Columbia this season, 48% conversion rate on third down.
They got Cole Freeman back there in quarterback right now.
So they go to their backup. We saw the both of them on full display against Lafayette. Freeman is going to take off and run, and he's not going to get there as Princeton's defensive line stuffs him. I don't even think he gained a yard on that.
No, it looked like he gained 1, but he's going to come up short of the sticks, and it looks like 4-down territory for Columbia here.
So here's another look, and you saw Carson Irons get into the thick of things to prevent Freeman from gaining some wiggle room.
Yeah, that's the one thing when you bring in your second quarterback who's noted as a bit of more of a running quarterback. He also can throw, as he's shown the last 2 games, his 4 touchdown passes. But you can't be so, one-dimensional when you bring him in.
So they need a yard to gain. Freeman takes off again, and he's still fighting. Let's see where they mark it. To the naked eye, it looks like it may be enough, but we'll see where they spot it. This was awfully close again.
Now that spot doesn't look right. That looked like he made the yard to gain.
And he's short.
I would take a review of that one because.
So the Princeton.
It's right here after that opening drive at Princeton for Princeton. So they got to make a stop here. Columbia looked like they had the first down, but they came up just short.
Hippa was 5 of 7 for 46 yards passing. He's going to keep it himself. Finds a slight alley. And he's going to pick up about 2 yards on the run.
It looks like they're keying on him. They probably have a spy. One of the linebackers is looking for him on every play because he's so dangerous with his feet. So they were able to bottle him up with, minimal gain on that one.
And we have an injured player down for Columbia as both sides will head to their respective sides of the field with 6:20 to go here in the first quarter as Princeton taking over following the turnover on downs. And turnover, Sean, was such a big storyline at Georgetown last week. Columbia coughed it up 4 times, but the killer was 3 of them came in Hoya's territory.
Yeah, and they were driving, for a touchdown to put the game up 21-7, and they fumbled on a play that was, I think, a misplay by one of the players.
So Anthony Roussos was the Columbia player that went down. Here's another look as you see Hippa cuts back, and then Roussos is going to come in with his shoulder to assist Ben Cornello. But the good news is he's walking off under his own power. His play will resume here on a 2nd and 8 for Princeton. They send Clark in motion. Hippa, look at this clean pocket over the middle, and he's going to complete that pass to Matthew Mahoney, which is going to set up a short 3rd down conversion here. Mahoney, the senior of West Des Moines, Iowa, who's appearing in his 22nd game.
You know, it's going to be very important for Columbia to get some pressure on Hippa. Right now, he's sitting back there and he's able to pick them apart. So they got to get more pressure. That's why the Townsends of the world got to make the plays.
Well, they look to go to the ground. Columbia's defense all over it, and he did not get the 1 yard he needed.
It'll be an interesting decision here by the Princeton coaches whether they go for it. They got a 4th and 2 at midfield. So it looks like they're going to stay. The offense is going to stay out here and try to get that first down. Big play for this Columbia defense to stop them here and get good field position back and ability to try to tie up this game.
Ben Cornello once again in the thick of things. The senior defensive tackle out of Connecticut. They send Clark again in motion out wide. We'll see if Hippa takes off himself. Instead, a short pass, a deflection, and an interception. Hayden McDonald in the right place at the right time for his 2nd career pick as Columbia gets a turnover on its own to change this game drastically.
I think a little bit of pressure by that Columbia front forced him to throw it a little early, and he put it on his back shoulder, and it made it a harder catch. And he was able to, come in there and pick that one off. So nice tip drill effect.
Went off the fingertips of Simon Bracken, the tight end, who's getting some opportunities today because they've been hit by the injury bug at that position. But McDonald, the senior out of Seattle, Washington, who had his first career interception last season, makes it 2 years in a row with a huge play. And now the Lions right around midfield trying to answer the call.
Now, good job by that Lion defense to hold them there and get this ball back. So, they were moving the ball pretty well and didn't quite pick up that first down on the 4th down play. So here's another opportunity for them.
And that is the 2nd interception of the season for Columbia. Connor McFadden had the other. Goodwin taking off. He's got room, slides in. And he puts Columbia in Princeton territory, and then a late flag.
Yeah, I was wondering what they were going to do because it looked like he slid and then the defender came down on his head. So that's going to be another 15 yards.
Yards from the end of the run, automatic first down.
Referee is Eric Lewis.
And that's a dimension that Goodwin gives you as well. He not only is a really good pocket passer and can throw in the run, but he also can run. It was a nice job by him to beat the first player, get it down, and then you got people piling on. So great field position right now. This is time for Columbia to get back in this game and try to tie it up. 1st and 10 from the 27.
And they got Peyton Talley, the safety, number 20, with the late hit. That's who the penalty went against. So as a result, Lions knocking on the door here on their 2nd possession. Georgie takes off to the right with a few defenders pulling him back and is going to move it to the 25-yard line.
Yeah, it was kind of a sweep right, a bunch of pullers. He cut in behind, and Princeton was able to react and clean up from behind and hold him to a short gain.
Georgie comes in averaging 4.5 yards per carry. Malcolm Terry actually leads the team in yards per carry and is up there in the Ivy League. He's averaging over 6 yards per attempt. That is 2nd best in league, 30th in the nation. So they have created a nice 1-2 punch with these two as Georgie goes out wide. Goodwin has plenty of time. A short pass that he gets to Canty. And this is going to set up a manageable 3rd down.
Yes, nicely, he had good protection there. He was able to wait for his receiver to come open. He was able to deliver it right to Canty. Puts him in a 3rd and manageable, 3rd and 4.
2-yard pickup for Canty.
You expect maybe a 4-down territory, although, with the kicker they have, I think, they might take the points if they don't get a significant gain here.
Columbia 0 for 1 on 3rd down today.
Princeton showing pressure.
Good protection by the Lions as Goodwin goes towards the left side of the end zone and a bit too high, intended for Jordan Kelly.
Yeah, he had his man open. He just lofted it a little too much, and he had him right there. He had beaten his man to the corner, and he just got it a little high. Maybe it's the rust from not playing last week, but that was a gettable ball. A gettable catch if he had delivered it where it's supposed to be.
Taj Owen in coverage. Hugo Murray coming out. He's 2 for 2 this season, as this is going to be a 39-yard attempt. He's hit a 43-yarder and a 23-yarder this season. And the kick is up. And it is good. So Hugo Murray puts the Lions on the board for the first time today. Makes it perfect, 3 for 3 on the season. It is Princeton in front of Columbia. Here in the first by a score of 7-3 by Hugo Murray, who will now kick off. That ended a 5-play, 30-yard drive. It was aided by a late hit on Peyton Talley, but Sean, Columbia just could not turn it into a touchdown.
It's something they're going to have to. You can't settle for field goals against an offense like Princeton. And they looked like they had a shot there, and the ball was just overthrown. He had his man right in the corner, but they pick up the 3, and now the defense got to step up against this, tough Princeton offense.
Goodwin was trying to get it to Jordan Kelly. So off the touchback, Princeton offense, will come out here as the Tigers off to a very strong start, really on both sides of the field. And it says a lot about Columbia's trouble in short yardage situations, about the size and power of the Princeton defensive front.
Yeah, and Columbia's offensive line is a pretty good sized offensive line, and they're a veteran offensive line. But, it's going to be a battle all day. And that's where the game's won every time. So, it's a matter of still going to that run game, still pounding it, and then get those cracks and bust a big one like Terry did last week a few times.
Well, Steve Verbit, the Princeton defensive coordinator's 39th season, as Hippa pitches it back out to Barber, who's got open space. It's a foot race down the sideline, and finally McDonald bounces him out, but not after Princeton gets all the way into Columbia territory.
That was a nicely conceived play. He faked the run to the right, went out on a little option play. The defender was home, made his decision to go after Hippa. He was able to pitch, and Barber took it for a big first down.
Jack Smahowski went after Hippa, leaving Barber open. Here's Volker, who scored a touchdown already in this game, and he is able to move things forward back out towards the outside.
Yeah, those kind of big chunk plays, they loosen up that defense, and right there, Volker was able to take it outside, break contain, and pick up a good 6 yards, puts him in a nice 2nd and short.
Princeton relying on some explosiveness on offense. Off the play action, Hippa dancing, looking for an opening, still on his feet, and finally barreled down from behind as he ran into a truck called Justin Townsend, and that man's been quiet. Well, he's allowed early today.
Well, that's a big play for this Columbia defense. Hippa has really good feet, and he was able to move around in that pocket and escape a few tacklers, but Townsend was relentless and kept working at it and was finally able to bring him down for a loss. So it puts him in 3rd and 10 situation.
Justin Townsend, I was going to say, getting his first sack of the season.
Well, that's a long time coming. He's been focused on by these offensive lines.
Hippa trying to make up for it, quickly releases it into no man's land. Was that picked off, or are they going to say it hit the ground and it is incomplete?
Yeah, but that's a big stop by this Columbia defense. They had a couple of big plays. Looks like Princeton was going to go down the field. And this one was really close, and he kind of sold it pretty well. Yeah, that came out.
That was Kobe Cruz, who could not hold on to it. And I don't know where Hippa, Sean, was going with that throw, considering there was no Princeton target in the city.
I think maybe one of his receivers turned the wrong way. He was expecting him to go inside, and he threw it to the inside, and his receiver went outside.
Brady Clark coming on to punt. Honorable mention All-Ivy last season. Get some height after the initial line drive, and it'll be a fair catch by Carter McFadden.
It looked like Columbia tried to go after that ball. They sensed that, they didn't set up for a return. So they went, especially at this field position. So they kind of tried to get to the ball, but didn't quite get there.
So a Lions offense that has had a turnover on downs, then settled for a field goal, will come back out. Chase Goodwin returning to action today after missing the Georgetown game due to injury. But you see what he brings to the table, Sean, and you even alluded to this earlier. He could take off and run. He's got an arm. He's spreading the wealth. They're not necessarily just leaning on a Bryson Canty. You're seeing so many other wide receivers involved this year.
Well, what's impressive about him is if you watch him in the pocket, he has very quiet feet. And for a sophomore, he's poised. He allows his receivers to get in their position, and he surveys the field. He knows where everyone's going to be. And they're tough sledding up that middle of that defensive line for Columbia. They're not getting quite the push on this running game so far.
And then again, Carson Irons in the thick of things out of that linebacking position. This is a core that lost Ozzie Nicholas, Liam Johnson, and Will Perez. That was 3 of their top 6 tacklers last season. Nicholas had a team-high 4.5 sacks. Johnson, both of them, all Ivy League players, yet they find a way to groom the next group of top tacklers as Goodwin just throws it away as he was feeling the pressure.
Yeah, it looked like he had an ability to step back and get his feet gathered, but then he made an additional run outside and put himself in a bad position in order, he couldn't make a play from out there. It's a big down right here. You got 3rd and long on your own, 11-yard line. So you don't want to turn this over and, give Princeton good field position again.
Columbia has yet to convert a 3rd down, 0 for 2. Goodwin having the pocket closing on him, and he is going to be sacked. Sandwiched up front as that Princeton defense once again continuing to go to work and not allowing Goodwin to get any wiggle room.
Yeah, that was a bull rush by number 28 on the, against the left tackle of Columbia, Carr. He kind of pushed him right back into the backfield, and Goodwin had nowhere to go, and they were able to pick the sack up. So far that, Princeton defense is only relying on their front 4, and they're not sending any blitzes so far, but we can expect to see them as the game goes on.
A.J. Pickford getting credit for the sack. Shows the volume of depth they have at linebacker. John Volker, earlier in this game, finding an opening to scramble into the end zone. Hayden McDonald with the interception sets up a 39-yard field goal for Hugo Mary. It's remarkable what he has done to Princeton in the last 3 meetings. As Will Hughes will let it go. A.J. Barber makes a man miss and is going to be brought down at the 45. As A.J. Barber, very dangerous, leads the Ivy League in punt return average, nearly 17 yards per return, and that is 5th best in the nation, but Columbia able to bottle him up there.
And not the best kick, right there, trying to get them out of, change the field position, but Princeton's going to start within Columbia's field position now on their side of the field. So big spot for this defense, for Columbia, and Princeton wants to take advantage of this good field position as well.
Princeton 111 total yards to Columbia's 51 as they put Mahoney in motion. Hippa rolls out to his left. And right at the sideline, a sliding grab by A.J. Barber to move it inside the 30-yard line.
There was a lot of cushion on that outside. I'm not sure where, what they were playing, whether it's a zone. Yeah, they were sitting back in a zone, and it hurt them last week. A lot of zone throws, and, you got to, you saw early a man-to-man with McFadden one-on-one. He was able to make the plays, but, and again, that run game was looking right up the middle.
4-yard pickup for Ethan Clark, who we've seen a lot more of than John Volker, and again they go to Clark. This time he runs into a brick wall, but it'll still be a manageable 3rd down for Princeton as Columbia shuffles personnel here in and out.
Well, last week it was a hot game down at Georgetown, so they kind of got gassed at that end of that game. So they're going to start bringing people in and out on both lines.
Clark, a sophomore out of Michigan. He runs a route here on this play. Hippa trying to take off, slips through the Columbia defense, and that is going to move the chains. That is the element in play that Columbia needs to keep tabs on throughout the course of this contest.
Yeah, good coverage downfield. The defensive backs and linebackers had good coverage on all the receivers. He had nowhere to go with the ball, but having that ability to run the way he does is always dangerous, so it's always in play.
So a fresh set of downs for the Tigers, who already have a touchdown in this contest. Play action, plenty of time. Hippa towards the end zone, and it is dropped. Colella tried to keep both feet in, but he could not hold on to the ball.
Yeah, he also had the defensive back turned around there. So if the ball was delivered on the mark, that was a touchdown. As you can see, the defensive back he kind of guessed wrong. He guessed that he was going inside when he was going outside. But luckily for Columbia, that ball was overthrown out of the end zone.
And that was Carter McFadden, who's had his fair share of battles with Colella. He's been traveling with him throughout the course of this game. They put the tight end bracket in motion. And again, a strong run by Clark. And that is going to take them within the 15-yard line.
Yeah, I mean, decent
And
job.
excuse me, that was Volker.
Yeah, decent job by the Columbia front there to hold them to a 4-yard gain. Puts them in 3rd and long situation. So this is a big play for both teams. Princeton can keep this drive going and put more points on the board, and Columbia to stop them and force them to try a field goal.
Princeton 4 of 6 on 3rd down this afternoon. Quick pass towards the outside. Barber finds a lane. He's going to be short of the 1st down marker. And let's see what Bob Surace decides to do here on a 4th and 2.
Yeah, I would expect him to go for it here. He's really likes what his defense is doing. I don't think he's right in good field position. So even if they, turn it over and downs, they're in a good shape. They're in good shape. So there you go. They're going for it here. So big start, big time here.
They need 2 yards to move the chains. And both guys in the backfield can run with Hippa and Volker.
Yeah, you got to watch out for that naked boot. He gives it a fake and takes it himself.
Hippa's going to roll out, looking for an opening in the end zone, and a low throw. And is it intercepted by McDonald, who slid in at the last second? Yes, it is. Hayden McDonald's 2nd pick of the afternoon, as he has won the battle with Hippa thus far.
You almost wish he might, for Columbia's side that he dropped that ball because, now they're on their own 1-yard line instead of the 10. But, great play by him. Good pressure up front. They kept contained, didn't allow him anywhere to run, Hippa anywhere to run on that 4th down play. And so he ended up trying to throw it and force the ball in, and McDonald made a great play.
He was trying to force it into his tight end, Joey Wassler, and then McDonald was able to cut in front. So McDonald, who came in with 1 career interception, has now doubled his career total in 1/2 of football alone this season.
This is going to be a test for this Columbia offensive line. You're on your 1-yard line. You have to give yourself some wiggle room. This defensive front of Princeton is strong. So here's where it comes down to.
And they're going to head to the ground as Georgie fights for positioning. And he is brought down. Carson Irons, again, all over that. And then you had another help from the safety position, Nasir Hill.
Yeah, good discipline on that defensive front. They were able to hold their corner. So even when he kicked it out, they were there with contain and with numbers to stop Georgie.
Columbia has run the ball 10 times for 35 yards today. Quick pass from Goodwin. One man misses, but still not enough to get the 1st down. As Columbia trying to build some wiggle room up against the end zone as we take another look. It was Jordan Kelly able to make the catch.
Now, Evans did a nice job blocking on that play, and Kelly, he got some extra yards out of it, but still got a 3rd down here that you got to convert and keep these chains moving. You don't want to give them back field position again and put your defense back on the field.
And this has been a problem area. Columbia 0 for 3 on 3rd down today. They came in on the season just under 50%. Goodwin feeling the pressure and a quick throw over the middle. And that's a 1st down and then some as Columbia finally solves the riddle on 3rd down. And this time looking for a different target who we haven't seen over the course of this game, as that was Titus Evans.
Well, Princeton came with the blitz, so they ended up in man-to-man coverage. They were able to take advantage of it. He got good protection on that and was able to deliver the ball on the crossing route for the big 1st down right there, coming from your 1-yard line, to get it out to the 25 now.
16-yard gain for Evans. That's just his 2nd catch of the season. Came in with 1 reception for 4 yards in the first 2 games. They hand it back over to the running game here, but Terry spins off of a hit and then is brought down. And that, once again, has been a problem for the Lions because of Princeton's penetration.
Well, Princeton they had a blitzer coming off the corner, which took a blocker away, but they had also good penetration up the middle, and Terry was really lucky in order to not lose yardage on that one.
We'll step aside with Princeton up by 4. Inman that the Tigers utilized, the sophomore out of Jersey City. As Columbia's offense back out on the field. Goodwin, play action, tries to thread the needle and somehow does at the 40 for a first down pass to none other than old Mr. Reliable, Marcus Lidman.
No, that was a nice ball by Chase Goodwin. He sat back and he waited for his receiver to come just enough open, and he stuck it in between 2 defenders, and he put it actually on his back shoulder to avoid the safety coming across.
Yeah, Taj Owen closing in on that. Georgie makes a man miss and then gets pushed out of play by Hill. So that is what you call turning nothing into something.
Yeah, that was a great adjustment by Georgie. And he ended up picking up a block by the quarterback right here in the corner, right there by Goodwin, and was allowed to, gain 8 yards on that play out of nothing.
Though I'm sure the Columbia sideline holds its breath when Goodwin is out there blocking, given the fact that he's already been banged up this season. 2nd and 2. Goodwin is not going to keep it. Terry gets tied up, and then flags come in from every angle here as once again penetration by that Princeton defensive front.
Yeah, they're getting really good penetration up front. That's a strong front, and they're rotating a bunch of guys in and keeping them fresh. I'd expect a hold here.
Personal foul. Chop block.
Oh, it was
55,
a chop block.
66.
So, yep.
15-yard penalty. 2nd down.
In those situations, you can't have 2 guys on one. So you can't have someone making contact with an individual and another guy come along and cutting him. So I think that was the combination up on the left side. That's a big penalty, for Columbia puts them well behind the chains here.
And they wound up losing 4 yards on the run. And now a negative play gets 10 times worse as a result of the penalty. As they got Will Matthew.
I'm not sure where they're placing the ball. I think there's a confusion from the line judge and where they're supposed to put the ball.
So they're still having a powwow here on the field. Nonetheless, Columbia's going backwards no matter how you spin it.
But that's a big difference right there. That's a 5-yard difference. So it puts them in a 2nd and 15 as opposed to a 2nd and 20. Because I think it was a spot foul. So you had to go from where the infraction happened.
They move Terry out wide. Goodwin's going to go to the air here. Pocket collapses, and he just shuffles it out to Lidman, who's tackled right as he made the catch. And Marco Scarano all over that.
That defensive front, they only bring in 4, but they're getting enough pressure and pushback, and they're causing a little havoc in that pocket. So he doesn't have the ability to sit and wait for his receivers to come open. So, the front of Columbia is going to have to do a better job and give him a little more time to, find his receivers, because when he has the time, he's been able to deliver.
So Lidman, who had 1 catch in the first 2 games, now already has 2 today. As the Lions once again utilizing the full cluster of receivers.
He's showing a possible blitz here. Here they come.
And Goodwin gets rid of it. Eden Stagg needs to make a man miss, does so, cuts back towards the middle of the field, and somehow Columbia turns it into a first down after the chop block penalty.
Yeah, they came up with big pressure. I think they sent 3 extra guys in that rush. Offensive line did a good job just keeping him at bay, and he was allowed to get out in man-to-man coverage, and Stagg made a beautiful cut to pick up that first down.
An 18-yard catch and run. They're going to hold up play here.
Looks like a timeout by Princeton.
30-second timeout.
As the Tigers want to regroup, talk things over, they had Columbia in an extreme precarious spot And it's the elusiveness, Sean, of this receiving core, because that was a short pass as we take another look.
As you can see, they sent 3 extra guys. So he got that ball out really quick, and he beat his man one-on-one. And once he did that, he had the ability to turn it up and pick up that first down. So, and that's what the Columbia offense is going to try to do when they see these blitzes. Get the ball out of the backfield quickly and take advantage of those one-on-one matchups and have your receivers start to run, because Columbia's receivers do have a really good ability to run after catch.
It was Torian Roberts, the defensive back for Princeton, that sized up Eden Stagg, and then Stagg just made a cut move that brought him back towards the middle of the field, and he had some open space, and that's what enabled him to get past the first down marker. So the Lions are now in Princeton territory.
And you remember, this drive started on the 1-yard line. So this is, so far a very impressive drive by Columbia, and especially when you had 2nd and 15, and you overcame that. So in 3rd and 15 as well.
They took away a scoring opportunity from Princeton after the Tigers got into the red zone. Stagg is lined up in the slot here on the left. Columbia is going to hand it off. Malcolm Terry cuts back, trying to move the pile forward, and he's just shy of the 40-yard line.
Yeah, good discipline on that, defensive side of the ball by Princeton. But Malcolm Terry, he goes forward. Both of these running backs for Columbia, rarely that they're caught behind the line of scrimmage. They make something out of nothing most of the time. And he's a strong runner. He was able to turn it up and pick up a solid 4 or 5 yards.
Terry transferred from Navy in 2022. Last season was 2nd on the team in carries and yardage, right behind Georgie. And they are back to business as usual this season. Goodwin fakes the handoff, gets it to Stagg again, who spins off of a would-be tackler, and it's another first down for Columbia.
See, when you have the run game going a little bit, it opens up that passing game. So nice quick strike out to a double slot receiver out there, and he was able to make a quick move and pick up the first down on the catch. Nice job by Goodwin and Stagg.
Evan Haney tried to come in for the initial stop. For the Lions on the perimeter of the red zone is Goodwin looking back towards the sideline. He's 9 of 11 for 89 yards in this game.
Now the blitz.
Out of the pocket, is able to dump it off. And Princeton's defense swarms quickly for a short gain. As the linebackers have been in motion throughout the course of this contest. Jackson Ford coming up with the tackle. We have an injured Princeton player, and with that, we'll step aside. Columbia on the move, down by 4, here with just over 5 minutes to go in the second. London Robinson was the injured Princeton player. That's the second time he went down. This time he needed assistance off the field. There's Columbia's offense on a 2nd and 6 here, trying to finish off a drive, which has been a challenge for them thus far today. Last play, Griffin Johnson, who gets the handoff, had his first career reception. He's able to gain some positive yardage on the ground as the Lions going real deep. We've seen Joey Georgie, we've seen Malcolm Terry, and now Johnson in the mix.
Yeah, nice little run off the right tackle. Jordan made a nice block, pulling guard. I knew he moved some bodies out there and puts him in a 3rd and short. So you would think that with the score, 7-3, this might be 4 down territory.
Georgie to the right of Goodwin here.
Watch the blitz off the left side. Just showing it.
Columbia 2 for 5 on 3rd down.
He's got to get the snap off. Wait.
Oh. Timeout.
It looks like a timeout was called.
Yeah, they were down on the play clock, but it looked like he got that snap off just in time. But the Columbia coaches thought it was too close for comfort, so they made the call.
So the Lions offense will have an opportunity to talk things over. You mentioned Princeton showing blitz. We were talking with John Poppy earlier this week, and Steve Verbit, a name I brought up earlier, is the Princeton defensive coordinator. So his 39th season running this defense. Now, John Poppy put things in perspective, said he's been in the Ivy League longer than the Columbia coaching staff has been alive, was his exact line.
It's pretty close. and especially their, all their experience that added up doesn't add up to his experience in this league. And Coach Poppy also mentioned that he could show you a blitz that he hasn't shown in 12 years, and so you can't prepare for everything. You can only prepare for yourself and the looks you're going to see, and you drill into your line how to block and certain things and how to pick things up. And Columbia kind of zone blocks up front, especially in the pass game. So, which bodes well for them picking up. They picked up that blitz earlier in this drive, were able to pick up that big first down.
So 3rd and 2. Goodwin is going to keep it himself towards the right, and he was tripped up, and then a flag comes in because, again, Princeton's defense was on point in terms of reading where Goodwin was going to go with the football.
Holding.
And it's going to be a hold against
10-yard
Columbia.
penalty.
And he got enough for that first down, it looked like, as well. So that's a tough penalty. You had the first down right there on the play, and that's going to cost them 10 yards and put them behind the chains.
Robert Sanders was able to trip up Goodwin. And we saw earlier on this drive a chop block penalty, now a hold. And they were able to overcome the chop block, but not enough, perhaps, to maybe overcome the hold here. We'll see.
But also, this puts you in a tough field goal position. So a field goal from here would be a 44, 45 yarder. So you want to pick up some yards here, especially you want to pick up the first down if you're Columbia.
Georgie in the backfield with Goodwin. Pocket collapses. He's being chased. Goodwin is going to turn the corner, stay in play, still fighting, but Princeton's defense was not fooled on this one. Rocco Marcelino, the initial attacker.
They're sending out the field goal unit. He just had no one downfield to look for, and the pocket was starting to collapse, and he was able to escape, but he still had no one coming free. He was looking downfield to try to find an open receiver, but he had nothing there. So this sets up a 43-yard attempt by a kicker for Columbia.
His career long is 45. He hit a 43-yarder 2 weeks ago here at home against Lafayette. And he's already drilled a 39-yarder today. He's trying to stay perfect on the season. He's 3 for 3. And Hugo Murray is going to be 4 for 4 on the money. The strong leg of Columbia's kicker, responsible for all 6 of their points as they trail Princeton by 1 here late in the second quarter. It has been a battle royale in the Ivy League opener. And we'll be back right after this. Contest, but a pair of penalties doing some damage against Columbia as this one will land in the end zone for another touchback.
Yeah, it's a surprising first half as far as this game is concerned. The opening drive, Princeton goes down and pretty much had their way on their first drive. And then Columbia moved the ball really well, but turned it over on downs. And you expect this game to be high-scoring games, but we have a 7-6 game with 2 minutes and 55 seconds left in this first half. So there's been adjustments made on both sides, defensively for Columbia, and offensively, Columbia's had to settle for field goals because of the penalties.
Princeton comes in averaging 25 points a game, Columbia 24, so they're right in the same ballpark. As Hippa operates out of the gun, fakes the handoff to Volker, then dumps it off to him. Volker's got some space, and Columbia's defense able to converge on him, led by Aaron Brebner.
Yeah, nice job by the safety coming up and supporting that in that pass play. He had nothing downfield. He just went to his outlet, and Columbia's defense reacted pretty quickly to keep him to a 2-yard gain.
Princeton trying to orchestrate a scoring drive here late in the first half as Volker bottled up for another minimal gain.
Nice job, job by the linebackers on that side for Columbia. Especially Russo's came in and made a nice play on that. Columbia's adjusted to this run game. They earlier in the game they were powering up the middle. It seems like they've adjusted their front and worked on their gap.
It is a Princeton team that had 195 rushing yards last week against Howard. It's the 2-minute timeout as we step aside here in New York City. Trying to continue this drive with Blaine Hippa at the operation. 3rd and 6. He's got all time in the world, and Colella over the middle for a first down. His top wideout in stride, in sync. And the Tigers are going to move the chains.
Yeah, Columbia came with a little pressure up the middle, but Princeton's line picked that up really well. Gave him plenty of time to wait for his receiver to come, free over the middle. It takes time for that receiver to get there, and he was able to deliver the ball right on the mark.
Colella now 3 catches for 30 yards. Hippa goes to the opposite side of the field. That's another reception. As this time utilizing some bigger personnel. As A.J. Barber making his presence felt. 2nd and 4. Hippa feeling the pressure. Finds an opening and is going to slide in safely. As the Tigers all of a sudden here on the move.
Well, they're going to put him down short of that first down because of the slide, so where the ball was. So it's going to be a 3rd and 1 here. Somebody's changing some personnel, getting some fresh bodies in there.
Princeton 5 for 8 on 3rd down today. Hippa's going to hand it off, and that's going to be good enough for the first down.
Again, right up the middle where their strength, the offensive line is for Princeton. They've been able to pick up, the yardage they need when they need it. When it's 2nd, 3rd, and 4th and short.
Leaning on their number 1 back, John Volker, who's going to stay in the game. Hippa has been protected all throughout the afternoon, and that gives him time for another strike to Luke Colella.
Yeah, he's given him a little room on that side. It was one-on-one coverage, and the cushion was there. He was able to turn easily, and Hippa was able to deliver the ball on the money.
And you see the activity up front, and Connor McFadden was right behind Colella as they've been going back and forth throughout the course of this contest. Colella entering this game with 6 catches for 123 yards and 2 scores, and he now is up to 4 receptions for 43 yards. As Princeton in Columbia territory here with 23 seconds to go. The Lions won the toss and elected to defer, so Columbia is going to get the ball to start the 3rd quarter, but still a golden opportunity here for Princeton to try to pad its lead.
Absolutely. This is a big stand for Columbia. They're going to have to try to force them to attempt a field goal anyways, and not be able to put a TD in the end zone, because a TD before the first half would be devastating for this Columbia defense. They've played pretty well since that first drive. So it's up to them to make a big stop here. There's only 23 seconds left in this half. It's like only a 3-man rush by Columbia.
And that's why Hippa is able to step up in the pocket. He's continuing to try to buy some time. And finally is taken down as he crosses the 25-yard line. So Princeton quickly back to the line here with 5 seconds.
That was an interesting call. I mean, they let the clock run a little bit there. And it's down to 4. So whether they're going to take a shot to the end zone or they're going to try to kick a field goal here. They could have called a timeout when there were around 12 seconds left. But they waited. I think it was even more than 12 seconds. I'm not sure how they waited until it was 4 seconds left to call this timeout.
Well, you saw Levi Robbins brought down Hippa, and then Hippa gradually got up. Wasn't an overwhelming amount of urgency.
But he got hit pretty well. So let's see what they plan to do here.
And they're going to bring out Jeffrey Sexton here to attempt the field goal with 4 seconds to go. This will be a 41-yard attempt for Sexton.
Yeah, I was kind of surprised they didn't take a shot in the end zone before that.
He's 2 for 2 this season, and both have been from 40-plus yards. And we're going to have another timeout.
You're trying to ice the kicker here. So might as well use your timeout.
Can't take him with you.
So you can't take him into the second half. So I just wanted to say something here. Earlier this morning, there was a dedication for the weight room at Columbia University up here in the Campbell Center, which is a beautiful weight room and one of the best facilities in the league, or in the country for that matter. And the man who was responsible for changing this program as far as strength and conditioning was Bob Gilmartin. And he, if you went to this event this morning, all the ex-players that came back for that dedication was really impressive. And he's been battling some health issues, so he was here for 10 years, and he turned the reins over this year. But we want to congratulate Bob for having a weight room named after him, and for all his years of service here. Great man, and we wish him well.
So Sexton comes out again to attempt the 41-yarder. And this one is on point. Jeffrey Sexton, 3 for 3 from 40-plus yards this season.
There was a penalty flag thrown. Not sure.
Well, that was right near the Columbia sideline, but it may have just been an official who dropped
penalty
it,
is declined.
and they're going to wave it off and say that field goal is good.
Halftime.
And both teams are going to head back to their respective locker rooms as Princeton able to pad its lead.
It was offside, actually, on Columbia. So we were graduating. Bill Campbell, we were leaving our last game, and he said, there will be a stadium with this new president, and it was. 4 years later, this place was built.
Columbia won the toss deferred, so Princeton kicking off to the Lions to start the third quarter. And it is going to be a fair catch as Jeffrey Sexton gave Columbia something to think about, but no reason why they needed to take any chances. And there's a Lions offense that was held to just 2 field goals. They had some opportunities, a pair of penalties on one drive, just have not been able to solve, especially once they get into the peripheral of the red zone.
Yeah, and when on one of those drives, they had an opportunity, and had Kelly in the corner going towards the end zone. He was open, and Goodwin just lofted the ball a little too high and missed him. So it's this offensive line's got to be more aggressive. They're allowing this defensive line of Princeton to get too much pressure.
Goodwin starts out of the gun with Georgie in the backfield. They're going to hand it off to Joey. Joey stays on his feet and right up the middle is able to maneuver for a first down.
A nice job there on the offensive line. There was a pulling guard. He was able to turn inside, open up a nice hole for Georgie. The Iannuzzi turned upside. Georgie made the best of it, found a little seam, and cut it up to get the first down. A nice opening run.
We look at Joey's numbers on the day. Goodwin has time towards the sideline. Was the catch made? It looks like he was able to haul it in.
Yep.
And it was Eden Stagg, another great grab.
Nicely done by Goodwin. He kept them in the field. Stagg made a nice adjustment on that ball and was able to keep his feet down before he went out of bounds. So nice job by the combination of receiver and quarterback.
Eden Stagg in his 9th career game, and he has been so consistent in his limited action, but now taking on a much larger role as Georgie is able to push the pile forward.
Yeah, it seems like this offensive line has gotten a little more aggressive. They're getting off the ball pretty well. So they've mixed up the run and pass so far on this drive. It's a nice little drive so far.
3-yard pickup on first down. The Lions now in Tigers territory. Goodwin will keep it himself. And another quick outlet pass as the Lions working the perimeter. As that was Braden Doherty, the tight end, with his first catch of the game.
Yeah, nice job by Goodwin there. He recognized the blitz coming. Princeton sent 2 extra men. He was able to pick up, the line was picked up at, pretty well, and he was able to get the ball out of his hands quickly and pick up a nice gain.
See the efficiency of Goodwin, 12 of 14 today. He's going to roll out to his left to buy more time. A dangerous pass. It's incomplete. There was contact, but no flag thrown.
Yeah, there looked like there was contact before the ball got there. Let's look at it again here. He's rolling out. His man's there. It looked like the grab, he had him wrapped. That backhand was pulling on him. He turned him, but the refs didn't see it, and Columbia's going to go for it here.
That was Jalen Newman able to get his hand in the passing lane. So John Poppy keeps his offense on the field. Remember, they failed to convert with Freeman on a run play earlier in the game. A lot of pressure the way of Goodwin, and he is going to be sacked. Rocco Marcelino able to wrap him up after his teammates did the heavy lifting. The second takedown of Goodwin this afternoon.
Yeah, tough play. I mean, they sent the blitz. They should have been wary of that. That was coming. 4th and 1. They sent everyone. Good pickup by the running back, Terry, but it forced him out of the pocket, and he had nowhere to go with the ball, And it now gives Princeton really good field position. And after Columbia moved the ball pretty well in that first drive, they just got stopped short.
You brought up a good point, Sean. It was Terry that picked up Scarano, but with Terry so bottled up with him, it allowed teammates of Scarano to get towards Goodwin.
And actually, the block landed the defender at the feet of Goodwin, so forced him out of that pocket.
So Princeton right around midfield, trying to capitalize off great field positioning. They hand it off, and a strong run on first down for Volker to get towards the 45 of Columbia.
Yeah, they keep their feet moving there. Volker is a tough running back, and he's getting all his major runs up the middle. That one, touchdown, he was able to kick it outside, but the strength of that offensive line is right up the middle, and he's following his blockers, and they're keeping a good push up front.
Powerful back at 6 feet, 215. They put Barber in motion. Again, they hand it off to Volker, and he's going to try to wiggle through. Very short gain, but a manageable third down here coming up.
Yeah, gain of 1. Good job by the Columbia up front there to force him for, minimal gain. Looks like a gain of 1 or 2, but brings around a 3rd and 3. So big play for this Columbia defense after turning the ball over in downs.
They've got Hippa out of the gun. And Hippa loses it. He's going to pick it up. Ball is loose again. Columbia initially had it, but then it seems Princeton may have jumped back on it, but the Lions are pointing in their direction. And we'll wait, and it is Columbia football. Great hustle by the Lions as Charlie...
And luckily for Columbia, they were able to recover.
Weiner has not attempted a pass. He just had 3 carries prior to that fumble, as Terry has one leg hooked by a Princeton defender, but was still fighting his way through traffic there.
It was a nice job by Noah Jordan coming around from his tackle position, leading that play. But, the inside pursuit was able to wrap up Terry and get a hold of his ankle, and he was trying to drag the guy down the field. He was able to pick up a couple, but that was it.
So Princeton now with 3 turnovers in this game. Hippa's picked off twice by Hayden McDonald, then a lost fumble. Yet Columbia's only scored 6 points in this game.
Yeah, they have to take advantage. They can't be settling for field goals right now.
So after a 2-yard run by Terry, they've got Godwin out of the shotgun. Good protection up front. Surveys the field. It's deflected and nearly intercepted as he was trying to go down the left sideline to Titus Evans.
He had him open, but I think he eyed him the whole way, so it allowed the defender from the inside to come out and make a play on the ball. If he'd gotten rid of that, a little sooner and would have been able to pick that up, but he looked like he just waited just a touch, and it cost him. And luckily, it wasn't picked off.
Evan Haney made the deflection.
Looks like pressure coming.
May have gotten the interception. Goodwin under attack. This time swings it in over the middle to his intended target. And that is going to be good enough to move the chains as he goes back to Evans.
No, nice pickup again by Terry on the blitzer up the middle. Good play, allowed Goodwin to step to the side and deliver that ball up the middle. I mean, he had some nice blocks there picking up blitzers, and it kept his, quarterback on his feet and able to make a play.
Well, that's why they feel so good about keeping him in on third down plays like that, because they trust that he'll buy Goodwin some additional time. Goodwin has time. Deep down the middle of the field, towards the end zone, and just dropped incomplete as they were going for the home run, as that was intended for Braylon Gardoni.
No, he had plenty of protection. He was allowed his man to get deep, and he delivered that ball just too long. Outreached hand right there. Got one hand on it, couldn't pull it in for the touchdown. but he had his man, and unfortunately was not able to make that connection.
If Gardoni made that catch, that would have been Luke Colella-esque, the Princeton wide receiver who made a one-handed grab like that in week 1.
Big
Second
play
and 10.
here. Yeah, big play here.
Put Stagg in motion. They're going to hand it off to Terry. Has some room on the left side and then tripped up. It looked like he may have had the ability to pick up even a first down, but again, Evan Haney, who's been all over the place, whether it be in coverage or in terms of his run-stuffing ability.
Yeah, that was a really good open field tackle by Haney. I mean, other than that, Terry's breaking that outside, and he might have the sidelines all to himself. So really good play by Haney out there to keep it to a short gain.
Terry had a 53-yard run against Lafayette week 1 last week, a 20-plus yard run.
Showing blitz again here.
Goodwin has had plenty of time on this drive, but again, with a beautiful throw to mark a first down for Columbia, and Titus Evans is his number 1 and favorite target.
Well, Princeton showed a blitz. They filled all the gaps. Then they dropped into coverage. So Goodwin had plenty of time to wait for his receiver to come open. He sat down in a nice zone, was able to get the catch and pick up that first down. A big first down for Columbia here.
Pickup of 9 yards. That's the 3rd reception for Evans on this drive alone. And here we are again with Columbia nearing that red zone territory. They give it up to Griffin Johnson, and he's just going to dive forward for a pickup of a yard.
Colin Taylor, the defensive lineman for Princeton, penetrated deep into that Columbia backfield and was able to make a play. I mean, Georgie did enough, or Griffin did enough just to get 1 yard out of that one.
Griffin, 5'11", 210 in his sophomore campaign. He ran for over 1,400 yards as a senior at Marysville High School. Getting some action today. They give it to Georgie off the left side. Still moving his feet. And talking about turning a 2nd and 9 into positive yardage, as they are now going to have a short yardage situation on 3rd down.
Interesting play. They had false direction, and they had a pulling guard to the right-hand side. Georgie went right and then cut back in the backfield towards the left side, and they were able to pick up a nice gainer there. Puts them in 3rd and 1 yard, 1.5 yards.
Georgie averaging 6 yards a carry today. So they bring in the power of Johnson, then the slipperiness of Georgie. They go again to the ground, and that is going to be good for a first down. Left, cut back, and move the chains.
Nicely done. This you can notice the difference in the offensive line in this half. They're being more aggressive. They're getting a good push. Georgie made a nice cut there. The 2 Princeton defenders ended up banging into each other, and Georgie was able to make a nice cut and pick up that extra yardage. Put them in 1st and 10 at their own 12.
He maneuvered right through Jackson Ford and Nasir Hill, the safety. And with that run, Georgie now has moved up to 7th place on the Columbia rushing list. Goodwin's going to fake the handoff. He's going to air it out towards the corner of the end zone, and that one is wide. No shot at catching that one.
Yeah, the defender and the receiver there was a lot of hand fighting going on, and looked like the back judge decided to let it go and not make a call. But there was a lot of hand fighting right there. But that ball was uncatchable.
Titus Evans and Jackson Fisher who were going at it.
This is a big series for Columbia's offense. They've settled for 2 field goals so far today. They really need to get in that end zone to make this game more competitive.
Well, there's their 3rd trip in the red zone. Some space for Terry as he cut back from right to left.
Yeah, it looked like he had an opening to the left side of that offensive line, but he ended up following his pulling guard and only picked up a couple, so it puts him in a 3rd and long here.
Columbia 5 of 10 on 3rd down today. As Princeton is now going to change out personnel. Almost a hockey line-esque change there.
They put in a lot of fresh personnel because this has been a long drive for Columbia.
And one of them is Bakari Edwards off the right side. He was their top sacker last season. He's on the pressure attack as Goodwin rolls out of the pocket, fires into the end zone, and it's caught for a touchdown. Columbia again comes through, and it's Marcus Lidman, but there is a flag on the play.
You know, that was a nice job by Goodwin to get out of the pocket, roll out to his left, and wait for his receiver to come. But it looks like the penalties against Princeton.
Touchdown.
And the touchdown will be upheld as Columbia celebrates. Goodwin bought time, and Marcus Lidman was left wide open as we take another look here.
Yeah, he just sat right in the corner of the end zone and was waiting for that play to come. Nice job by Goodwin to find him on that roll. He was able to get out of pressure and deliver the ball on the money.
Lidman's first touchdown since 2022. And Hugo Murray will come in to kick the extra point, as he's 2 for 2 in field goal attempts today. And he is now 1 for 1 with respect to extra points. So the Lions get their first touchdown of the day to move in front by 3 here in the third quarter, as Chase Goodwin and company able to finish a drive in the red zone. We take another look. Marcus Lidman wide open. Columbia has scored over 10 points against Princeton since 2017, which is the last time they beat them. And Princeton, that number 10 is so big because the Tigers are 33-0 under Bob Surace when they hold their opponent to 10 or less points. So that hurdle was significant for Columbia to overcome.
No, and you know, Columbia had good drives before. Had moved the ball well, but yeah, penalty here and there, and not converting on a fourth down a couple of times, really hurt them, and then they had to settle for field goals as well. So in order to to get it to punch it into the end zone, it was a big thing for Columbia to start out this half.
So off the touchback, Princeton taking over at the 25, trying to respond to Columbia's scoring drive. Hippa fires quickly, and Colella initially had it, and then it looked like the ball was knocked out.
It was knocked. It was a great play by McFadden. He made a move on the ball, got his hand in there before it was delivered. Right there. Nice job by him.
That has been some battle.
That's a battle back and forth. They've been, when they're one-on-one, it's been even more so. In zone, Colella's caught a few balls in zone, but McFadden's been pretty good one-on-one.
Same direction and off the fingertips of A.J. Barber, incomplete.
He had him. The throw was good. I think it maybe got onto Barber a little quicker than he thought it would, and wasn't able to come up with the ball, but puts him in a 3rd and 10. Good spot for this Columbia defense. Big play for Princeton, especially after just giving up a touchdown for the first time today.
Princeton 6 of 10 on 3rd downs today. Hippa able to survey the opposite side of the field and nearly hauled in, but incomplete. A nice effort there by Ethan Clark.
Yeah, good coverage. The defensive lineman up front for Columbia did a little twist move, try to bring in some pressure. Made him throw it a little early, and he just wasn't able to complete it. So big stop for this Columbia defense after scoring 7, and they get the ball back. And it looks like they'll get it in decent field position.
Kobe Cruz was the one defending Ethan Clark on that, as they bring in Brady Clark, who comes in averaging nearly 40 yards per punt this season. Carter McFadden, the lone man back. High snap. Somehow gets it off. And a booming kick to back up McFadden at the 20. McFadden's going to go across the field and taken down from behind as he crossed the 30. As that booming leg. Stagg and Kelly out wide left side for Columbia. They go to Georgie on the ground, dances a little and gets hit hard from behind. They're going to give him 2 yards on that one.
Yeah, not a big push up front for Columbia. He was waiting for something to open up and really couldn't find anything. Was able to get 2 yards out of it, but there really wasn't anything there. Good job by that front of Princeton.
Columbia nearing 100 yards on the ground today. But it has been tough sledding as they are over 25 carries. Goodwin has an opening and then just tries to dump it off. It looked like he was a bit indecisive, Sean, on that one.
You know, he made the decision to throw it, but if he had just tucked it and run, he probably would have picked up, 6 or 7 yards there. He thought he could get it off to the wide receiver, but it didn't work.
It was short of Doherty, the tight end. So that makes it 3rd and 8 here.
It's a big play for this Princeton defense. I mean, after, basically a 3 and out after Columbia scored, the defense here wants to do the same to Columbia's offense. Showing blitz again here, coming off the corner.
Good pickup on the blitz. And again, Goodwin finds his man for a first down as Goodwin and Titus Evans have not missed a beat here in the second half.
Yeah, nice pickup by Georgie in the backfield from that blitzer. He was able to knock him down, give Goodwin that extra time to deliver the ball for the first down. Really nice job.
So that's a 14-yard gain as Titus Evans has made big catch after big catch. As Goodwin now goes opposite side of the field, and that is hauled in by Jordan Kelly, as the Lions again knocking on the door.
Interesting line play on that one. We had a pulling offensive lineman, which made it look like a run to the defense. So you brought the linebackers in. As you can see, the guards going over. It looks like a run play. So the linebackers kind of came in and allowed that little extra cushion for that ball to be delivered on time.
So they need 1 yard to pick up the first down. They've got Georgie in the backfield. He goes off the left side, slithers through. Joey Georgie trying to go to take it to the house and tripped up inside the 5-yard line as he got in front of the Princeton defense.
Really big difference in this half with this offensive line. They're coming off the ball. They're really opening nice holes. Georgie was patient, waited for that opening, and made a really good cut right here. Waited for his man right here. He cut off the Joe Iannuzzi's block and was able to turn it upfield and almost to the house.
And that was Kayvon Miller, who was able to save a touchdown there at the very last second. So they scored a touchdown on their last trip into the red zone. Malcolm Terry fighting through traffic, and he reaches across the goal line and is in for a score. Malcolm Terry with his first career rushing score since 2022. And the Lions have made it back-to-back drives with TDs.
Yeah, nice statement by this Columbia offense, and especially the guys up front. They've protected well. Running backs have been there for the penetration on the blitzes, and their running backs are running really well. So it's nicely done.
Hugo Murray in for the extra point. And this kick is
got inside.
Just inside the left upright by the chinny chin chin to make it.
That was a big point. It puts them up 10 as opposed to,
So we look at Goodwin handing it off to Terry and navigates the would-be tacklers to get in.
That was the double tight end set on the right-hand side, and they just drove the defensive line of Princeton down the line and opened that little gap for Terry. And with his leg power, he wasn't going to be denied there.
But it was Joey Georgie's 40-yard run that set things up, and you see a little bit of the balanced attack in the ground game where you have one style of run in Georgie, and then as you get closer to the goal line, you bring in the bigger back in Malcolm Terry.
That whole drive was a nice mix of run and pass for this Columbia offense. And, as I said before, the offensive line has come out aggressive in this half.
So this is that Georgie run on the play prior. He makes one man miss, and then it was Kayvon Miller who was able to get him from behind.
The big block, as you see, Iannuzzi giving his push outside, but Chapman, the center, was able to seal off the interior rush, towards that hole, and Georgie was able to cut up inside him or outside him and get that big gainer.
It's the 4th career 100-yard game for Georgie. As this ball will be fair caught by A.J. Barber. And now the pressure is on Princeton's offense to manufacture something. They started off with a 12-play, 75-yard drive in this contest, and since then, Columbia's defense has been able to contain them.
Columbia has, they must have made the few adjustments up front because they were getting gashed up the middle, especially on the run game. And they've been covering well in the backfield. After a couple of weeks of getting thrown on pretty well, they've made a good adjustment, and it come out in this half to put these points on the board. Really good job by that Columbia team.
So it's the second game in 3 contests in which the Lions have reached at least 20 points, and the defensive front for Columbia all over that one.
Yeah, you can see the momentum switch a little bit. Number 91 was stout up there.
John Martin.
Yeah, John, he had been nicked up before, so he's getting his chance to make some plays, and he made one right away.
Yeah, he missed the first 2 games this season, so he's making his 2024 debut as Hippa able to throw it out to Joey Wassler, who's just short of the first down.
Yeah, it was a drag play. The Hippa rolled to his left, was able to throw back against the grain. Nicely done. Good recovery by the defender, for Columbia to get the, tackle before the first down.
That was
so puts him in a 3rd and 1.
Princeton 6 of 11 on 3rd down. As they send out wide Tamatoa Falatea, left side. And they're going to hand it off, and Volker spins out for a first down to move the chains.
Yeah, good push up the middle by that offensive line of Princeton for the first down. That's been their bread and butter in short yardage situations. They've been able to convert, and that's why their conversion level at 3rd down has been pretty good today.
It's a pickup of 4. As Princeton inching closer to 100 rushing yards as a team. We look at Volker's numbers. His brother also played for Princeton and was a member of the U.S. bobsled team at the 2022 Winter Olympics. As Volker finds room up the right side, and that is going to be another first down for Princeton, and all of a sudden, they're starting to gain some steam.
Nice patient run by Volker there. He waited for his blocks to see. He's waiting, and then he saw the opening, cut inside, and made a nice move, pick up a good 10 yards in the first down.
This is more of what we saw on that opening drive of the game, leaning on their top back. They fake the handoff this time. Hippa, off balance, has Barber up the sideline, tackled from behind, inside the 20, and in the blink of an eye, Princeton now within scoring position, and we have a Columbia player down all the way back near the line of scrimmage.
That doesn't look great. But Columbia was in a zone on defense in the backfield. Hippa had enough time. He was able to roll a little bit out of that pocket and make the play to Barber, who he waited for to, find that little seam in the zone.
So here's another look as Hippa rolled out and then flips it to Barber, and Barber, who thought maybe he'd go out of play, was able to keep both legs in until he was tackled from behind by Jack Smahowski. And it's not good news for Columbia because that is Justin Townsend, who is down, their top pass rusher. And it looked, based on that replay, Sean, he was thrown into the ground as he was trying to make a play on Hippa.
Yeah, I'd like to see that again because, he immediately grabbed at his knee, which looks like he was.
So here's Townsend's pursuit, and you see he was pushed and then essentially sandwiched.
I think when he was originally pushed, his knee was in an awkward position, and
And he was going up against Nicholas Hilliard. That is their right guard, honorable mention All-Ivy. As Townsend still being attended to. One of the top pass rushers in the Ivy League. He had 7.5 sacks last season. That was number 1 for Columbia. He was second team All-Ivy. The prior year, he also led the team in sacks with 6. He had his first today. I mean, he's been the heart and soul of getting after opposing quarterbacks, and he has been a Princeton killer.
You know, you could tell by that play and Hilliard being the one who hit him, which is a guard, that they've schemed to protect their quarterback from this guy. So he, you know, they've, you know, that's what the teams have been doing against Townsend. They either doubling him or running away from him. So, you know, he hasn't been able to be as effective as he has been in the last 2 years. And hopefully this is, you know, nothing serious, but he needs a little help coming off that field.
And John Poppy, the head coach of Columbia, right by as well. It'll be a fresh set of downs for Princeton after the big pickup by A.J. Barber on a catch and run for 33 yards. We've got 1 second left here in the third quarter, and now they're going to let the clock expire. So Princeton will have more time to think things through as they start the fourth quarter in the red zone. Malcolm Terry, though, giving Columbia more breathing room, finding the end zone for the first time since 2022. Harper on the very last play of the third quarter for 33 yards. Justin Townsend was hurt for Columbia, assisted off the field. And now Princeton trying to finish this drive. Ethan Clark out towards the right. And Columbia able to prevent him from turning the corner.
Yeah, good pursuit on that Columbia defense, although another defender for Columbia just came up hobbled, and that's, I think, Brebner. You know, he looked like he twisted an ankle on that play. But nice job by the defense to string that out and make the play and hold him to a short gain.
2-yard pickup. We saw Volker earlier in the drive. Now they have Clark in. And they're going to fake the handoff to Clark. Hippa backpedals towards the end zone, wide open. None other than A.J. Barber, who comes through with his first touchdown of the season. And Princeton is an extra point away from making this a field goal battle.
You know, I don't know if Columbia was in a zone because they certainly wasn't. It seemed like he just kept rolling through that zone, and finally he had enough time and good protection in order to find him. But yeah, he was too wide open, especially in an end zone play.
Barber went from left to right. Sam Masick in for the extra point. And it is a 20-17 game. So exactly what Princeton, Sean, needed to do. They answer the Columbia touchdown as we see Hippa buy time and nobody in the vicinity of one of the Tigers' top weapons.
Their coverage, you know, and that's the cause.
Jeffrey Sexton will send it into the end zone. And instead of a fair catch, Eden Stagg brings it out. And the Tigers' special teams was not going to allow him to do damage at their expense.
Yeah, that's a 10-yard difference, you know, and that's why a lot of these teams, especially in the Ivy League, call that fair catch. You know, Dartmouth under Buddy Tevens made it a staple that they'd always take that opening kickoff and fair catch it because you get a 25-yard line, start. Here now you're back to your 15, so you have to roll the dice and make sure you have the right return on. Otherwise, you're going to be playing behind the sticks.
So after the Lions were able to punch it in with Malcolm Terry, Princeton went 7 plays, 75 yards. And barely took any time off the clock here in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, it reminded us of the first drive of the game that Princeton moved fairly easily down the field.
So Chase Goodwin back in orchestrating traffic. Georgie on the handoff, gets to the outside, and Joey Georgie has plenty of space as he's brought out of play right near midfield. Another huge run for the Lions' #1 running back.
Yeah, nice opening on that left side of that offensive line. Good job by Iannuzzi and Carr. They gave him enough space. He was able to kick it out, and then it was just sprinting down the sidelines. Georgie's having a big day.
He has now 74 yards on just 2 runs. That was for 34 The one earlier was for 40. Goodwin has plenty of time. A dangerous pass nearly intercepted. Evan Haney again got his hands on it as they were trying to get it to Doherty.
You know, they went to the pass on first down, and after that run, you didn't get the rush that you usually get from the Princeton front. He had his man open in between the defenders. He just didn't loft it high enough over that first defender and drop it into the receiver. Right there, he's wide open, waiting for that ball. Nice play by the defender.
2nd and 10 for Columbia, trying to move into Princeton territory, and the Tigers defense read that immediately after the handoff, and Columbia was going nowhere off of that handoff to Malcolm Terry.
That was a blitz off the corner, and the blitzer ran right into Terry. He had nowhere to go. He tried to cut up inside, but the blitzer was right on him in a heartbeat.
And that was Haney again.
Yeah, he's been making plays all over this field, and they got him. He's like kind of a rover for them, and he plays corner, but he's making big stops.
Sophomore out of Chattanooga, Tennessee, who is making his 9th career appearance. Goodwin fakes the handoff, pocket collapsing, fires, connects. Stagg makes the catch. He's short of the first down, and a flag comes in. We'll wait a word from Eric Lewis.
Personal foul. Roughing the passer. Number 20.
And it's going to be a roughing the passer penalty. And that is going to help Columbia's cause.
Yeah, Columbia was going to be in a 4th and 2 or 3, and that's a huge penalty against Princeton. That gives Columbia a first down deep into Princeton territory. Yeah, the defender had a chance to stop before he made contact, and he didn't let up.
So 1st and 10 for Columbia at the 30. They hand off to Terry, and Terry wiggles in and out of traffic and somehow turns that into a 9-yard gain.
That was a nice run by Terry, and that was a lot on him. There were bodies strewn all over the place. He tiptoed his way through that hole, and if you watch him, right here, he's waiting. He just found a little seam. He was able to cut it up. Nice job by him to pick up a quick 9, put him in a nice 2nd and short. You can do anything from this position.
And they actually moved the chains on that one. Initially, they marked him short. As fighting for positioning again is Terry, who, once again, Sean, presents something different from Joey Georgie, and that's what makes Columbia tough to contain on the ground.
And Terry's, he's broken some long ones, so he's got the speed, but he's also got that power. He's very built low to the ground, and his legs are, very powerful, and he's able to fight for those extra yards, and he just picked up a nice 5 yards on a play that looked like it was strung out by that defense, and he was able to push forward and pick up that 5.
Goodwin buys time, and the ball deflected, incomplete. It was Torian Roberts who got a hand in there.
Yeah, he had his man open there. I think he just a tad late on that throw and allowed the defender to get him. If he had thrown that ball a little quicker, he would have had that completion for the first down. But he allowed that defender to come.
And once again, he was looking the way of Titus Evans. As we see the communication from the sideline, it's truly an art. Georgie to the left of Goodwin, picks up the late blitzer and an incomplete pass. And there's another running back coming to the rescue because Scarano was inches away from hitting Goodwin.
Yeah, the only problem was that he was a little close to the quarterback. So when he did make contact with the blocker, he was in the throwing zone of Goodwin. It looks like Columbia's going to go for it here. It's a big play. They're going to count on the defense if they don't make it. But the 4th, and instead of taking the points, they're going to try to get the first down and go for 7.
And Columbia is 0 for 2 on 4th down today. They need 5 yards to keep things alive.
Showing pressure here.
Goodwin immediately blitzed. Is he going to get out of it? Somehow he does, and is going to scramble into the end zone for a touchdown. Chase Goodwin putting his legs on full display. It looked as if he was going to be sacked, and he said, "Not on my watch." His first career rushing score.
Yeah, Princeton sent the house. They sent the house, and they had everyone coming. He was able to escape the first guy and was able to get him around the corner. And once he did, he had clear sailing to that end zone. Really great job. It looks no ill effects from that little ding a couple of weeks ago to his knee. Looked great there, and that was quite an answer by this Columbia offense.
Colin Taylor was so close, but no cigar as Hugo Murray comes on for the extra point. And Columbia restores.
But they were very efficient on that, and that big penalty, the roughing the passer penalty, was a huge play in that drive. They would have been faced with a 4th and 4. Instead, they got the 15-yard penalty and were able to convert from there.
Well, one of the things that we have heard when you speak to opposing coaches, they've picked up on the play of the offensive line and Chase Goodwin and his mobility as huge difference makers for Columbia this season. And that has been X factors 1 and 2 this afternoon as Princeton starts this drive on the ground for a short game.
Yeah, nice job up front by Columbia. They're really concentrated up the middle with respect to this run game. They've adjusted after that first drive, and they've done a good job there.
Volker runs a route. Hippa looking further down the field, and this is going to fall incomplete. A deflected pass.
Yeah, it looked like he just threw behind his receiver. He was rushing it. It was good coverage, and also a nice pressure, which allowed, made him throw it quickly, and he threw it behind his receiver. Luckily, he wasn't picked off.
Falatella was the intended target. Falatea, rather.
Big third down here. Princeton.
Hippa wanted to go right, now goes back to his left. And he'll fire down the field, and it's incomplete. Kalela was who he was going to, and the fact that he was able to even get that ball off is quite the accomplishment.
You know what? They're getting a little more pressure, as you can see as the game's gone on. The front line of Columbia is getting a little more pressure, so they're forcing him out of the pocket. And, he's made some good plays out of the pocket, but he's also made some poor decisions. And, the last 2 plays, he threw behind his receiver, and then that one, not even close. So good job by that front for Columbia to force him there.
Brady Clark on to punt. Carter McFadden will back up to grab it. Needs to make one man miss. Initially does so and fights his way forward across the 40-yard line to give Columbia solid field positioning here on this next drive.
Yeah, nice job by McFadden. Pretty much on his own, beat a man one-on-one and pick up another 7 yards and put them across the 40 to the 41. So good job. They didn't quite go after it that time. They tried to set up a run back, but it was good coverage by Princeton, but he made something out of nothing.
So a Columbia offense that finished the drive with Malcolm Terry running it in, followed by Chase Goodwin heading up the sideline. Is now looking to continue to add to its tally with just over 10 minutes to go in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, this is the kind of drive, if you're Columbia, you want to just start eating clock. You can still mix in that pass, but if you get your running game going here, that's what you want to do, and that's a good start for them. Good 6-yard pickup on first down. Gives keeps the clock running and allows them to make any decision they want on second down and short.
Joey Georgie's career high is 159 yards, and he is now over 140 today.
Yeah, this tandem, the running backs, has been really good today, and that offensive line has really adjusted and come out in the second half and played really well.
They fake the handoff to Georgie, and this pass is going to be incomplete in the turf.
Probably for the best. That would have been a loss on the play. So it keeps him at 3rd and about 4.
Goodwin was looking the way of Kelly.
Now lately, this Princeton defense on third down have been really coming with a lot of people. Uh, they either show the blitz or they come with everyone. So let's see what they do here.
And Princeton has sacked Goodwin twice in this game, but they just missed him on that last play to end the previous drive with a touchdown.
Here they come again.
Goodwin well protected. Goes up the right sideline, and it is caught to put Columbia back in the red zone. Eden Stagg continuing to put his mark all over Robert K. Craftfield.
A nice job by that offensive line. They sent an extra linebacker. They were able to pick it up with their zone blocking, and Goodwin found Stagg with a nice ball over his shoulder. No one else could get that ball. The defender was nowhere near him, and it puts him in a great position right now.
Nason Armstead was trailing on the play. The safety for the Tigers. Columbia's offense looking like a well-oiled machine here in the second half as Georgie cuts back to his right and is able to get inside the 10-yard line.
It seems like every play, Princeton's defensive coordinator is sending someone. He sent a linebacker up the middle again, but Georgie, the play was off the grain, and he was able to pick up a nice chunk of yardage, on that play. So puts him in a nice second and 4.
So Georgie is up to now 148 rushing yards. And as a team, they're over 200. And this is a Princeton defense that has been known to stop the run in years past. Georgie cuts back to his right again, moves the pile inside the 5. And that is going to set up a 1st and goal.
We talked with Coach Poppy, and we talked about the blitzing nature of this defense. And he said, you know what, we just got to catch him on a few of these plays. And again, Princeton brought pressure. The offensive line adjusted. Georgie was patient enough to wait for his little spot to open up, and he was able to bring it down. Now it's 1st and goal from the 2.
As John Poppy talked about how well disciplined this Princeton defense is. They don't make many mistakes, so if they are going to be ultra aggressive, that's when you have to make them pay. As Cole Freeman now is in as Columbia's quarterback. And Freeman is going to keep it himself, trying to push forward, and he is in for a touchdown. The 3rd rushing score of the day for Columbia. Freeman off the bench provides a lift, and the Lions have surpassed the 30-point mark for the 2nd time this season.
Nice job up front. They kept working on their block, and Freeman almost dropped the ball, but he fought through a couple of tackles, and that was all on him. He fought through 2 or 3 tackles. They couldn't get him down. Really good job by Freeman to come in there and get that score. So each quarterback has a running score today.
Well, they're keeping tally amongst that quarterback room as Hugo Mary coming in to kick the extra point after he had 2 field goals in the first half. It's been all 1-pointers here in the second half. And that'll give them 34 points. This is a Lions offense that only averaged 15.6 points per game last season. It's a different story in 2024, mainly thanks to Cole Freeman, who finds the pay dirt here at NYC. He was number 3 in the nation in rushing defense, only allowed 94 yards. Number 6 in scoring D, only allowed 17.5 points per game. 8th in total D, and 8th in red zone. And all of those areas Columbia has thrived into.
Well, what's the funny thing about it is the same personnel for Columbia on offense, pretty much, from last year. So, new coaching staff comes in, revitalizes that offense. They get a new quarterback in there who's very efficient and very patient. And it's been a wonderful turnaround for that offense.
Hippa, with the pocket closing, is going to dump it off. And Barber is not going to go anywhere.
He's actually going to lose a few yards on that one.
The perimeter defense again coming through.
Yeah, much better coverage too in the backfield. It's good to see Brebner back in there. He doesn't have any limp. He just he dinged it a little bit, but he's out there calling the plays in that defensive backfield. So really good job by them.
That was Levi Robbins with the tackle as he's made plenty of splash plays. Hippa will take off and will head down.
Nice job by Russos. He just stayed home, and Hippo decided to run early, only a 3-man rush, but the pressure up middle forced him outside, and it was a solid tackle.
So Hippa out of the gun here on 3rd and 9, twirling out of trouble. Looking down the field, he airs it out into double coverage, and it's wide of Barber, incomplete.
Yeah, they got away with a couple of holds in that backfield, but good coverage down the field, forced him out of the pocket, and when he's been out of the pocket, he has been not that effective in this offense. So luckily, he just overthrew him, but there were 2 men there for the Columbia defense.
And that's why this lead is so key from Columbia's perspective, Sean, because now Princeton has to become more of a one-dimensional offense where they can't lean on the ground attack with Volker.
Right, and you've seen the adjustments in the backfield for Columbia's defense. They've been locked on their receivers.
Brady Clark sends it back. McFadden will make the fair catch, and Columbia's offense will come back out with just under 6 minutes to go in the 4th quarter. This has been a series that has been one-sided. Princeton, 75-16-1 all-time against Columbia. Tigers have won 11 of the last 12. And the last 5 games here in New York City have been decided in favor of the Tigers by an average margin of just over 26 points. And what a flip of the script it is today.
It's amazing. You got to give credit to those 12 seniors that decided to take a semester off and give it one more run. They knew something special was coming. And even with the new coaching staff, they've really changed things around. And this offensive line is really jumping, especially with their new coach up front.
Malcolm Terry in the backfield for Columbia. As the Lions trying to milk some clock, they do give it to Terry. Terry stopped with his forward progress at the 30.
This is a situation, though. Your running back's got to put both hands on the ball. Princeton's going to go after the ball on every play. And you got to just run this play clock down to, 5 or 4 before you snap the ball and, take as much time off this clock as you can.
Columbia has run the ball 37 times for 218 yards, and they have 3 scores. And quite the difference from a week ago when they were moving the ball but turned it over multiple times in Hoya's territory as they give it to Terry again.
Nice job again by that left side of that offensive line, Carr and Iannuzzi. And Terry's been patient. He's waited for his blockers to, position themselves, and he, good positive yardage there. Puts him in a 3rd and short situation. You pick up a couple of first downs here, you can put this game away for Columbia.
Third and 1 for the Lions.
Nice job by Goodwin, getting that clock down to single digits before he snaps that ball.
And he's going to hand it off to Terry, and Terry, as a result of a cutback, has space of first down, and he is into Princeton territory, as that is about as good of a microcosm of the entire game that you're going to see for Princeton today.
We got a Columbia lineman down. Looks like the center. Looks like might be Chapman.
Well, while they're attending to him, we're seeing the replay of Malcolm Terry driving this Princeton defense nuts after they had to try to solve Joey Georgie, and then you bring in a different style runner in Malcolm Terry. He needed 1 yard, and he was able to pick that up with ease.
Yeah, that is their center, Mark Chapman. He's a big part of that offensive line. He calls the, blocking schemes up front. And you don't want to see a player like that down on the ground. But it's this offensive line that has taken over in this second half. They were getting penetration. They weren't doing much. Protection wasn't great. So
So we look at the upcoming schedule for the Lions. They will finish up non-conference play next week at Wagner before they then resume Ivy League play with a trip to Philly to play Penn. Then they'll be back home on the 26th, homecoming game against Dartmouth, followed by the Friday night game against Yale. And then back-to-back trips, Harvard and Brown, before they wrap up against their in-state rival, Cornell. There's Chapman, who's slowly being assisted off the field. Honorable mention, all Ivy League last season. He started all 10 games after appearing in just 2 contests in 2022. We also saw Justin Townsend get shaken up, Aaron Brebner. Despite that, though, the Lions in command here, up by 17 as we approach the 4-minute mark in the fourth quarter. And this is uncharted territory for this Columbia squad.
So in center, it should be James Lill replacing Chapman. So you got to be wary of these snaps. New guy coming in.
And that one is clean. They give it to Georgie. Makes a man miss. And then brought down by Kayvon Miller.
We just got to, good play by him actually going down in bounds. Keep that clock running. The more they take off here, the less chance that Princeton has with the ball and try to get back in this game. So this has been a good drive so far. They've worked about 3 minutes off this clock. And another first down might put an end to this game.
James Lill, the junior out of Webster, New York, did not play his first 2 seasons with Columbia. And out taking over for the injured Mark Chapman. They hand off to Georgie. Georgie wrapped up, but you see, even after the initial contact, Sean still manages to fight his way for positive yardage.
Well, that's both backs on this team. Both Georgie and Terry, they will not be tackled in the backfield. They always go forward. So even if they're hit in the backfield, they always beat that first man, and they're able to get some positive yardage out of it. So it sets up a third down, but as that clock ticks off, you got 19 seconds left on the play clock. They're going to go all the way down, and you'll probably see them either go for fourth down.
You look at the total yard differential in the second half, 315 for the Lions, under 100 for Princeton. That is how this game has drastically changed, as Malcolm Terry still finding cracks and crevices in the Princeton defense.
And that effort got him a first down. That was a really good effort. He was almost tackled in the backfield, and he was able to...
Downs after Malcolm Terry picked up the first down, acting like a bowling ball in the middle of this Princeton defense. And on the opposite end of this 2-minute timeout, it is Goodwin handing the ball off again to Terry, and Terry, once again, is able to stay on his feet and nearly get down to the 20. They're going to mark him at the 21.
He almost broke that. If a defender didn't grab his ankle, he was gone to the sidelines. But he's been really, both running backs have been extremely effective today. They picked their holes. The offensive line has really come alive in this second half and pretty much dominated the really tough front of this Princeton defense. And that was their strength, Princeton, their front four. But the offensive line of Columbia has pretty much come in and dominated them in the second half.
You look at Terry's numbers. That is a hard-earned 79 yards on the ground. That box score doesn't do it justice. And now as Griffin Johnson comes in, and he's able to get right down to the first down marker. So we've seen all 3 running backs have success thanks to the Columbia trenches.
It is a first down, so that should pretty much put the end of the game. Columbia really just has to take a knee now for the next couple of plays, because I don't think Prince is going to start calling timeouts at this point in time with 52 seconds left.
17 first downs in the second half for Columbia, 4 for Princeton. These numbers that we're seeing on opposite ends of the spectrum. Harvard and Yale lost their Ivy League openers to Brown and Cornell respectively. And Princeton is going to follow suit. For the first time in Ivy League history, those 3 schools are 0-1, and a new era of Columbia football yields new results. The Lions knock off the Tigers at home for the first time since 2010. They snap a 5-game skid against Princeton, and John Poppy is 2 for 2. He wins his non-conference home opener, followed by his Ivy League opener, and the Lions are all smiles as they go to 1-0 in the young Ivy League campaign.
You can't say enough about the adjustments this Columbia coaching staff made after that first half. Columbia had to settle for a couple of field goals and, kick themselves, with a couple of penalties and non-conversion of fourth downs. But they came out in the second half and they dominated. That front just decided that they're going to win the battles up front. And their running backs found their holes and just, exploited that defense of Princeton. Princeton tried to send a lot of pressure, but Columbia countered with the run game and was explosive today.
479 total yards of offense for Columbia, 269 on the ground. They had 24 first downs. This is a refreshing new regime in which Columbia's offense and defense are clicking. As you see John Poppy getting his team amped up. It was John Volker that started things early for Princeton, but from that point on, it was all Columbia as Goodwin found Marcus Libman and then took off with his legs. For Sean Fitzgerald, I'm Lance Meadows saying so long from New York City. The final score, Columbia 34,